Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Thanks for joining me once again. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. This is live stream 1041. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and I will usually pontificate on a topic which has something to do normally with our hobby, which actually tonight's topic will. So that's a good thing. But of course, we're not involved in anything along the lines of rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, having some fun. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Now, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, and you must be a subscriber to the channel in order to take part in chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Should also point out, if you've ever got an idea for a topic for the dispatch, shoot me an email with it. Always more than happy to take a peek at folks' ideas as far as topics for the show. So let's see who's popping out the gate first tonight. It is our friend, the Madman. Yes, they are one of our chat moderators. They are with us tonight, as is W Forge, Semper Buffo, Snail Mail Games. You know, I think this might be a first-time visit for Snail Mail Games here in chat with us. Matthew Constantine, Kathy Evans, Jose Fernandez, and Pete's Dracolich are all with us in chat tonight. And I will also take a guess that we might have the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D lurking in the shadows, polishing her banhammer. Because yes, Sarah D is another of our chat moderators. Very nice, very nice. All right, let's jump on into the news because I've got quite a bit of it tonight. Landing in stores this May is sand. I've got the latest from Devir Games. People refer to this vast place only as the desert, since no one remembers what was here before. The golden age of human beings has long passed. Now there is only sand, and the only hope is in the humidity. Travelers cross the desert that stretches from the slopes of the Akashi Mountains to the cliffs of Sea Claw. Half-ruined ancient cities are home to the last human communities, struggling to survive by foraging for what little green remains standing. These desert travelers transport goods on the backs of their caterpillars. Although their only goal is to make as much money as they can, at the same time, in a more or less deliberate way, they are helping to bring life back to the desert by carrying small plants from the artificial greenhouses to the cities, to the most remote corners of this ocean of sand. Designed by Ariel Di Costanzo and Javier Pellizzari and illustrated by Ernest Sala, Sand is a game with a main mechanism of pick up and deliver that can be enjoyed alone or in groups of up to 4 players in games of around 120 minutes. Players have to earn as much gold as possible after 6 rounds, 5 rounds in a 4-player game, in order to win. In Sand, players put themselves in the shoes of these intrepid desert travelers who travel the paths of the board and visit the different towns. They collect goods to take them to other places and thus earn gold for the transport service. They cross the dunes on the backs of their faithful caterpillars, which, cared for, will grow and help players complete their tasks more effectively. Along the way, they'll be joined by helpful companions and be entrusted with missions that, if completed, will bring good benefits at the end of the journey. Help the plants take root again, and perhaps there is still some hope for this desolate place. Sand is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 2 hours. It's going to carry an MSRP of $44.99 when it arrives next month. Gotta say, this strikes me as being relatively interesting. I do wish I had a bigger variety of images to show you, but for some strange reason, this is kind of the only shot of all the components in the box. So I'm like, okay. But at least it's a pickup and delivery game that isn't based on 18XX. So I like that. And I like the art style too. I thought the art style was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Kevin R. Smith has popped on in to chat. And yes, Sarah D says they are hanging out in the shadows. Let's talk about some miniature game rules. Yes, because I don't talk about miniature games that much. So I'm looking to rectify that because Wyrd Miniatures has released the Ashes of Malifaux expansion for Malifaux 3rd edition. It is now available in PDF. Here's what I know. Malifaux trembled when the burning man set its skies ablaze. Great minds set to work figuring out methods of predicting his movements, of making order from his chaos. But the greatest started a different project, a way to destroy the burning man forever. Forever! To erase this presence from history's skies. Yet nature is not so easily controlled. Dance joyously in the streets. Feel the madness rise. When all is said and done, who will stand triumphant amidst the ashes of Malifaux? Malifaux 3rd edition is a story-driven skirmish game that carries the events from the lore directly into the characters' mechanics. With a streamlined hiring system, straightforward and updated rules that don't get in the way of the fun, and enough strategic depth to keep those mental gears turning for years to come, it's never been a better time to dive into the world of Malifaux. Seek your fortune, test your luck, and stake your claim in this fast-paced and brutal tabletop miniature skirmish game. Now, this 152-page softcover of the expansion Ashes of Malifaux with PDF will carry an MSRP of $28, and I believe it is slated to arrive in stores in May. But you can grab the PDF alone right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $18. Always like the artwork from Malifaux, and I have seen some of the miniatures up close unpainted. Always pretty solid sculpts as well. They've got a very unique style to them and very, very cool. I wish, honestly, with these stat blocks that are being shared, there's a couple of them in these images, I would have liked to have seen the miniatures as opposed to just repeating the artwork from that page. So I would have liked to have seen the painted mini instead, but got to make do with what you get. But yes, artwork is very, very nice. Talking about artwork, Snail Mail Games pointed out they were digging the artwork from Sand. And Matthew Constantine is pointing out that they like the artwork here for this. Says the art is cool. And who asked? W4 asked if there's a Malifaux role-playing game. There is. There is. And who just called it out? Yes. There you go. W4 actually answered their own question. It is Through the Breach. And I believe the adventures are called Penny Dreadfuls because they're short, like 20-page adventures that they release quite often. To be very honest, I know pretty much nothing about Through the Breach outside of the fact that it is set in the world of Malifaux. Flaming Heron's with us in chat. So we've got a trio of chat moderators hanging in with us tonight. Moving right along, let's talk about some role-playing game news because currently making its way into stores in print from Monte Cook Games is the Cypher System Bestiary, and I've got the Skinny. Scores of awe-inspiring creatures in an amazing presentation. Mystify, frighten, and challenge your player characters with this stunningly illustrated collection that gives you an almost infinite array of encounters. Dozens and dozens of inspiring creatures, familiar and new, are detailed within these pages, along with oodles of variants and customization options. And in case you did not know, oodles is a scientific term. It's less than a Google. It's never been easier. A streamlined stat block helps you quickly reference everything you need to run the creature at the table. But delve deeper, and the creature entry is chock full of lore, fascinating details, and supporting information and options. Find a myriad of ways to customize the creature with different names, alternate special abilities and traits, interesting looks, distinct motivations, companions or pets, layer designs, unique mechanics, and more. But wait, there's more. But we don't get into details about the more. Many of the listings have fold-out pages to put even more useful and inspiring information at your fingertips. Within this bestiary, you're going to find over 125 distinct creatures, plus dozens of variants, and the tools to create hundreds of interesting alternate versions. Every creature in this book is compatible with every Cypher System campaign. Detailed creature listings with loads of ancillary information that helps you breathe life and color into any encounter. Find names, pets and companions, layers, alternate traits and abilities, and other inspiring elements. Once again, there are fold-out pages for key creatures and topics to put loads of information at your fingertips. Actually, I think it's just kind of cool with fold-out pages. There's even a new stat block format that makes running Cypher System creatures even easier than ever. The 192-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $55.69. That is an oddball MSRP. $55.69, any color. There's no PDF info available if you want just the PDF. I don't have any pricing. It is currently not yet available over on Drive-Thru RPG, although there is a free preview of the bestiary in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG, but no actual bestiary. But this is actually arriving in stores. It is available now. And gotta say, it's our theme so far tonight. Sweet artwork. Very, very nice. All throughout, very cool. Stacking Limits is with us tonight. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. So Matthew Constantine says, I've really enjoyed playing Numenera. Sadly, their game master passed away last year, so not sure if they'll ever get to play anymore. Sorry to hear that. My condolences to your group and your GM's family. But Numenera is an interesting role-playing game. I have not seen the most recent edition. I did review, and I bring this up almost every time we talk about Numenera. I reviewed the first book, the first release that came out when Monte Cook was just forming Monte Cook Games, and I liked it. I mean, granted, they played it off like it's like, oh, this is revolutionary. And it wasn't revolutionary, but wasn't what it, I think if I remember right, I titled the review something like not reinventing the wheel or something like that. Something along those lines. But I did like it. I thought it was pretty cool. And Numenera is a very interesting setting. And I'm sure there's just so much more to it than I ever had an opportunity to take a peek at. One thing that I also like with Cypher System is it's pretty much your generic, genre-less system. So it's your basic role-playing for Monte Cook Games. So it's your genesis of Monte Cook Games, right? It's your GURPS of Monte Cook Games. And they release various different setting books that just kind of click right on in to the Cypher system. In fact, there is a Kickstarter currently going on. I believe, if I remember correctly, there's three settings. One of them is a Weird West setting. And I also believe that just recently, because I could have swore I did a news piece about it, there is a post-apocalyptic setting. I think it's called Rust and Redemption. That seems to ring a bell. Sweet. Very nice. Very nice. That is out. It's pretty recent. It is a recent release. W. Forge says Monte Cook Games has the bestiary PDF priced at $18.99. They may have changed that today because I went searching for it earlier this morning and could not find it. So thank you for tracking that down. I will definitely put that into the news piece that'll be popping up tomorrow morning. Pete Draculich says they haven't played Cypher. It is not crunchy. It is, well, the whole Numenera thing is, it's kind of keyword based. It's very unique. Now, once again, I don't know what the newest edition of it looks like, the second edition that actually has the 2 core books. So I don't want to get, too in the weeds about it because I could be absolutely wrong. Very possible. But I seem to recall it was not a difficult system to learn how to play. And there's some interesting game currencies that it uses as well. All right, moving right along. I would have thought maybe Stephen would have been hanging out with us tonight, but now on Kickstarter for Stephen's Roll for Combat is Battle Zoo Secret Dragons. I've got the scoop. 4 dragon books to rule them all. Seems like that was lifted from somewhere. I wonder where. Why is that ringing a bell? We have battle dragons, powerful dragons obsessed with the thrill of the hunt and the high of battle. Battle dragons seek out conflicts wherever they thrive. Fairy dragons, a playful family of dragons connected to the world of Fae and the machinations of the courts of Fae. Leshy dragons, a family of dragons with ties to leshies, plants, and fungi. Leshy dragons draw power from their connection to the natural world. And then, misfit dragons. The misfits of the dragon world are afflicted with strange magical mishaps. These mishaps grant them strange powers, but they come at a price. These are 4 books for either 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons or 2nd edition Pathfinder, each covering a new family of dragons. Combined, there are over 400 pages packed with hundreds of stunning illustrations, 20 new playable dragon ancestries, new feats and options when playing these new dragons as player characters, expanding on the rules found in Battlezoo Ancestry's Dragons. Over 80 new dragon stat blocks. Each new dragon family is fleshed out with new stat blocks to pit against your players. And specially named Great Worms. Pit these ultimate Great Worms against your most powerful characters and watch them scream in terror. The characters, not the Great Worms. Everything you need to play these new dragons as player characters in your 5e or Pathfinder game is included, as well as pages of information on each new dragon family and additional lore on each new dragon ancestry. There are over 100 tokens. Every dragon is provided in multiple token formats for use in any virtual tabletop or online game. And if you get the Pathfinder 2nd Edition editions, you will also get a free file that you can utilize. It should be with Foundry, I do believe. It is a JSON file, which is actually the sorts of files that the Foundry tabletop, virtual tabletop, I should say, utilizes. So that is included if you're getting the Pathfinder 2nd Edition editions. There's even full access to the development team, as everyone has full and free access to the team to answer any and all questions. And of course, there's loads and loads more that will be unlocked. And there are amazing stretch goals. It's Steven's verbiage, not mine. But there is a short Kickstarter video. It's a little more than 2 minutes, if I remember correctly. So let's take a peek.
Are you tired of fighting the same old dragons over and over again? Wouldn't you rather fight a new family of dragons? Or better yet, wouldn't you rather play as a new dragon species in your 5e or Pathfinder game? Well, now you can. Roll for Combat, the creators of the incredibly popular Battlezoo Ancestry's Dragons, have done it again with Battlezoo Secret Dragons. This collection of 4 dragon books introduces new families of dragons to the world of 5e and Pathfinder. Now you can play as, or fight, the dragon you never knew you needed. Inside each book, players will find complete rules for playing as one of these new unique dragons, allowing them to unleash new abilities and powers never seen before. Meanwhile, GMs will find pages of monster stats, allowing you to pit these new creatures against your players. Each book features one new family of dragons filled with extensive, in-depth descriptions of their powers and abilities, background and history information, world lore, illustrations, and more to help you introduce these new dragons into your 5e or Pathfinder games. Experience the world of Battlezoo Secret Dragons through 4 new books. Fairy dragons are connected with the Fey realm and love to play pranks and cause mischief. That is, when they aren't conspiring with the courts of the Fey. Misfit dragons are hot, magical messes of magical energy, constantly shifting their physical forms, phasing in and out of existence, or simply releasing random wild magic effects. They're quite a handful. Leshy dragons are deeply connected to nature, allowing them to grow alongside different types of plants, fungi, and leshies. Oh yeah, and they're master chefs as well. And finally, the powerful battle dragons are obsessed with the thrill of combat. Battle dragons love hunting foes, dueling opponents, or commanding their legions to glorious victory. Head over to kickstarter.rollforcombat.com now to secure your copies of Battlezoo Secret Dragons and become the dragon you were always meant to be.
This project is already past the 600% funding mark. Just kicked off yesterday, if I remember correctly. You can reserve all 4 of the Dragon hardcovers for a pledge of $139. Of course, you have to choose the flavor of your choice, D&D or Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Or you could also just grab the PDFs for a $79 pledge, once again in your flavor of choice, through May 1st. And of course, we are looking at an expected delivery next year, about a year from now. if I remember correctly. Forgot to jot it down. I was like, just taking a peek here. I'm like, wait a second. Seem to recall that the expected delivery, I think, if I remember right, I saw it was next March. So there you have it. Plenty of new dragons for you to add to the mix. And there are also 20 playable dragon races. Yeah, I got to be honest. In fantasy role-playing games, at least if I were running the campaign, I don't believe I would let my players play as dragons. Even if it was going to be Dragonlance, I don't think I would have them playing as dragons. But that's just me. That's just me. All right, so we've got Russell Higgins and Tony Urquides have both joined us in chat. We got a nice chat rocking and rolling tonight. Matthew Constantine says, I only like wyverns as they push up their glasses. W. Ford says they remember buying Council of Worms for AD&D. You could play as dragons, but my players preferred to fight with or alongside them instead. Yeah, that just kind of throws the whole balance of things off, in my opinion. But once again, just my opinion. All right, our final news piece tonight, now available in print and PDF from Mongoose Publishing, is Traveler. Yes, Whispers of the Abyss. And I've got the deets. A complete mini campaign for Traveler, setting the stage for great events to come. The Travelers are offered a lucrative contract to showcase a prototype starship to potential clients along the Spinward Main. Their route takes them around the periphery of the Abyss Rift, a region with a sinister reputation for starship disappearances and mysterious events. They soon discover they are not the only players in the game. An imperial megacorporation is pushing its own designs and playing hard for big contracts. As if competing with general products was not enough, there is sabotage and revolt on the worlds of the Spinward Main. A simple promotional cruise becomes a fight for survival, and all the while, there are whispers of something big happening on the fringes of the abyss. This 128-page hardcover with PDF is making its way into stores. It carries an MSRP of $49.99. I do believe, if I remember correctly, Mongoose Publishing puts a code in their physical books for you to redeem over at Drive-Thru RPG. I seem to recall that. But if you want just the PDF alone, you can grab that over at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. Sweet, brand new campaign kicking off for Traveler. In fact, we also have the 5th Frontier War, which is also out only in PDF. It's not out physically yet. It will be out, I think, later on this summer. And that is going to change a lot of things in the, I guess, the kind of like the mega, kind of the, like the mega fiction of Traveler, or at least Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition, as most people like to call it. Matthew Constantine says they're glad they play Traveler, but don't collect it because their wallet would never survive. Yeah, I should have a topic about Traveler one of these days. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. What holds Traveler back from being a real heavy hitter in tabletop role-playing? And one of the things is pricing. That is most certainly one of the things that works against Traveler is the pricing. As an example, and yes, I know we talk about this all the time, but we're looking at a 128-page hardcover $49.99, $50 for 128 pages. Companies like, let's use an example, Cubicle 7 Entertainment, somewhere around there, that page count, they usually do about $34.99. And I get it. Mongoose is located over in the UK. So is Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Stacking Limit says the Imperium is about to change. Yes, with the Frontier Wars they are. So Flaming Heron says, at least you get the PDFs for free with the books. And like I said, if I remember correctly, you do not have to buy the book from Mongoose. If you purchase it at a friendly local game store or an online retailer, I believe they come shrink wrapped. And the promo code, the redeemable code is like a sticker on the either inside of the front or back cover. Then again, I could be absolutely wrong. Matthew Constantine says they'd love to see them do an affordable intro box set. Well, there is an introductory PDF that is available. It's $1. It's $1 over at Drive-Thru RPG. And we do see from time to time, Traveler gets some pretty good humble bundles. And whenever they pop up, I always share that news with you because it is a prime opportunity to score yourself a lot of Traveler goodies. Granted, once again, they are in PDF. They aren't the physical releases, but you can score them for a song. You can get them at a really, really nice price. B. Horn is with us, as is Keldon. Good deal. Welcome to you both. Good to see you. All right, so that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Dispatch is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, Dungeon Masters Guild, Storytellers Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com. First, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, then by all means, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Lovely. And I do want to make mention of Agile Monk, the Madman, Kevin King, Marius Smith, and Joshua Edwards, who all recently stopped by paypal.me/thegaminggang and made not small donations. Thank you kindly. And thank you to all of those viewing the stream who pop by the website and use the banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. Thank you very kindly. All right. So tonight I am going to discuss how you can form your own gaming group. And we're going to discuss this together. So this is not me just talking at you. So if you would like, by all means, take part in chat, share your thoughts. If you happen to be watching this after the fact, leave a comment. Comment your thoughts for the video too. So we're going to discuss some ways for you to create your own gaming group, or I guess we could even say gaming gang. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
To make your evening of entertainment more enjoyable, our refreshment stand has these delicious favorites. Hot and crispy pizzas.
Do you know what you've just inhaled? Air. Yes, but what about the dirt and harmful gases that come from our automobiles and factories and houses? Before you take another breath, think what air pollution may be doing to your lungs. Hold it now. Think, what are you going to do about it? Well, if there are groups in your town fighting to make the air clean, join them and support your local or state control officials. They have some ideas on how you can help. Keep in touch with them. They're the good guys. They want to keep those hats white. Or write to Clean Air, Washington, D.C. By the way, holding your breath is not the answer.
Grandma, it's Little Red Riding Hood with your Wilkins coffee.
I'm the bad wolf, and I just ate your grandma.
We'll have some Wilkins to wash her down.
My name is Maisie the Raisin.
And my name is James the Flake,
Oh, what a sweet combination we make.
known to the world as post-raisin bran flakes.
We've got a story to tell you.
It happened not too long ago.
Rah, 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 rah. Here's Hotfoot Harry, the star of the track. It's the meat of the year, but alas and alack. His body is willing, but his spirit is slow. With a shot foot, he hits his own toe. He's big and he's strong, but he's feeling so sad. His pole vault is faulty. Too bad, poor Harry's so low that he can't clear the hurdle. In fact, in this race, he got beat by a turtle.
Hey, Harry, come on, try some post-raisin bran.
You'll be back on the track, a right happy man, 'cause the flavor of the raisins and the flakes combined makes the best kind of eating that a fella can find. The raisins are a-making all the flakes taste swell, while the flakes make the raisins delicious as well. One bowl and Harry is back in the race with a song in his heart and a smile on his face. He runs like a deer once again, he's the star. His broad jump's the longest by far. Yes, post-raisin bran makes a real breakfast treat. It's a blue ribbon winner that just can't be beat.
I'm Maisie the Raisin.
I'm Jake the Flake.
Together we're post-raisin bran. That's us.
You'll love this great fruit and cereal treat. Ask Mom next time she shops to get post-raisin bran.
Last call for refreshments, folks. Go right this second to get something good to eat and drink to enjoy now or during the rest of the show. The finest quality ingredients are in the fixins of the delicious foods you'll find waiting to tempt your appetite at the snack bar. Extra special good hamburgers, wonderful donuts, ice-cold thirst-quenching drinks. Pizza generously sliced, steaming hot, fresh coffee, ice cream in many flavors. It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
That's right, it's showtime. I was kind of surprised during that Raisin Bran commercial when the athlete was eating the Raisin Bran that we didn't hear Maisie and Jake screaming. Yeah, because some of these old ads are really bizarre and twisted. Yes. All right, somebody popped into chat. I'm trying to see who it was. Chuck Terrell. Good to see you, Chuck. Thanks for popping on in. All right, so there you have it. There's our brief intermission for the evening. So before I start discussing how you can form your own gaming group, Did want to mention the folks over at Chaosium Inc. have touched base. So there's some conversation going on by way of email. So guess they didn't care for getting called on the carpet, but they see where I was coming from. So that's pretty important right there. Anyway, so I am still going to be running Traveler, and I'll explain why. I started to tell you last night about how the Gaming Gang March Tabletop Role-Playing Game Madness event wrapped up. The finals were Call of Cthulhu versus Traveler, and I had two places for you to vote. One was here on the community page for the Gaming Gang channel, which I think drew in, it was either 136 or 166 votes. And then I also had it up on Twitter. And Chaosium Inc. had actually retweeted it. So there were quite a few people who were coming and voting for Call of Cthulhu. Sadly, Mongoose Publishing did not retweet it. So it ended up breaking down 75-25 over on Twitter, whereas here it was 50-50. I mean, it was, for the most part, I don't know if it was rounded up or down or what. It was 50-50 with an even number of votes. So anyway, so I thought, okay, let's not count the Twitter, because I thought it was a little unfair that Chaosium had retweeted and a lot of people voted for Call of Cthulhu. Mongoose Publishing didn't pick up and run with it. They should have, but they didn't. Flaming Heron says, so Chaosium is off the naughty list. We can talk about them again. You could always talk about them. There was discussion about GURPS going on in chat. I didn't say, oh, hey, stop that. Keldon said, what did Chaosium do? Well, you can either look in the community section of the Gaming Gang page here, or you can watch last night's show. I'm not going to rehash everything from yesterday. So anyway, so the reason why I'm going to run Traveler actually really had nothing to do with what was going on with Chaosium Inc. yesterday. I voted in the YouTube, poll. I would be the deciding vote. So if you take a look, you'll notice it says, I think it's 167. So Flaming Heron says, I thought Steve Jackson Games was all forgiven, though. Ha, 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 ha. I don't talk about him. I just, whatever. They don't like me. It's like, fine. I said before I screwed up, but it went way back with them pissing Elliot and I off and really treating Elliot very, very poorly with an interview he did with some folks from Steve Jackson Games. Plus the fact that they would always ask me to come over and interview them at Gen Con, and then they wouldn't ever give you a review copy of anything. They'd always be like, oh, we don't have any review copies with us. It's like, yeah, okay. So anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So yes, I am the tiebreaker. So Flaming Heron just pointed it out. Jeff is the tiebreaker. Yes, I am actually the 167th vote. And I voted for Traveler because I figured, you know what? I run Call of Cthulhu all the time. Call of Cthulhu officially wins the contest, but I'm going to run Traveler. So there's that. So that's why I kind of got off the topic yesterday. Something else I want to mention real quickly. If you were watching yesterday, and I know if you watch the show quite often, you know damn well when I was talking about being an old, single, straight white guy. That was a joke. That's a running gag because I've said that before, and I've also talked about how what a load of shit that is when people get all worked up about it. I got some comments on the video from people who they must have been just drive-by, never seen the show before, and they thought, I was seriously saying, oh, yeah, Chaosium Inc., they were, disrespecting me because I'm a straight white old male. It's like, no. Fleming Heron says, who took that serious? A couple of people commented. One person commented on the community page, and another person commented on the video. In fact, the person who commented on the video, I don't know if they got rid of the comment or not, because I replied to it and said, you must not watch the show, because that was obviously just me joking around. But they were actually watching live last night, and here's something that I noticed. And Russell Higgins says, who took you serious, Jeff? You said straight white male, I believe. I said old straight white male, if I remember correctly. So anyway, I love how some people will hang out and they're in chat, but they never say anything until the end of the show when I'm like, I've signed off and stuff like that. And then they'll throw some smart ass comment out there. It's like, yeah, okay, pussy. Maybe you should have done that a little earlier in the show so somebody could have responded to it. But it was like, it was something along the lines of, oh, feel bad for Jeff because he's a straight white male, because straight white males have it so rough or something like that. And it was like, okay, person who's never fucking watched this stream before. It's like everybody in chat who watches the show knows that I was fucking around by saying that. Sarcasm is lost. It is a lost art. People don't understand sarcasm. I could see online in emails and stuff, sarcasm is absolutely lost. But it's like, come on. It's like everything that comes out of somebody's mouth is not, legitimate. There is sarcasm, and I happen to be a sarcastic type of person. So anyway, so I just wanted to point that out. So Flaming Heron says, they just want to be outraged for outrage's sake. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of people who wake up every day and they just got to find something to be pissed off about, something to have a burr up their ass. So William Ellis Ice is with us as find friends with flip phones. Anyway, so tonight I am going to talk about how you go about putting together a gaming group. And of course, depending on your age and where you live is going to have a lot to do with how you might go about doing it. Should point out the thumbnail that I'm using for tonight's episode is actually a picture of the Gamers Guild from high school. I shared it once before, and I am in the lower right corner, and my best friend Elliot is right next to me. So he is the far bottom right corner, and then I'm right next to him, and I've got hair like this. I mean, it's pretty funny. Kevin R. Smith says, yep, there are some people who just crawl the internet looking for outrage material for their next social media post. Yes, because they are, we've talked about these people before, and it's both sides of the aisle where it's like, yeah, wow, I'm really making a difference on social media. Yeah, okay. Matthew Constantine says these folks should work retail so they have something to get genuinely upset about. I would hate to work with the public now. It's all I ever did. I did that for 25 years, maybe more. No, yeah, actually, probably about 30 years. Always had something to do with the public. I would absolutely refuse to work with the public these days because people are just ridiculous. Go and get on a plane, go fly somewhere, especially if you haven't flown in a long time and you're shocked by what people do on a plane. I remember back when I was about 21, 22, it was like, all right, I'm going to fly, better put a tie on. Sometimes I wear a sports coat. Now it's like people get on in their pajamas. I've seen people get on planes in their bare feet, which they are not supposed to be allowed to get on the plane in their bare feet. Unbelievable. I've seen people cutting their toenails on a flight more than once. So, Matthew Constantine says they did 30 years of customer service and retail, and geez, people are awful. They are. All right, so let's talk about how are you going to put together a group of gamers? Because this topic does come up from time to time in chat. Even last night, in some ways, the topic was coming up because there was discussion about, is there a role-playing game current or on the horizon that can knock Dungeons & Dragons off the top perch? And people were talking about, if you look for a gaming group, especially role-playing games, it's all D&D. That's all you can find is Dungeons & Dragons. Every once in a while, you'll see Pathfinder. But for the most part, it's 95% Dungeons & Dragons. So let's talk a little bit about how you can get together with groups of gamers of a like mind. So first of all, if you're in high school or college, pretty easy because you're going to have a lot of available aspects for you to get people together. Clubs, that's probably the biggest one. I think most high schools now have like a game club or a Dungeons and Dragons club or a just tabletop gaming club. Some, depending on the size of the school, may have more than one. So pretty easy to do that. College should be the same thing. Should have fairly easy access to other people who are interested in playing games. Now, once you're no longer in college, you have to work for a living, things become a lot trickier. So let's discuss some of the ways that you can go about finding people to game with. First of all, your coworkers. There are a lot of gamers out there who actually game with many of their coworkers or members of their coworkers' families too. So one thing that I would certainly recommend is if you are not embarrassed by your enjoyment of tabletop gaming, bring it up in conversation when you're at lunch with some of your coworkers, just kind of hanging out with your coworkers on break or whatever. Ask, you can get a conversation started by asking, hey, what do they like to do in their free time? For all you know, they may say, well, my wife and I, we play a lot of board games. Then you'd be like, hey, you know what? So do we. So that is an excellent way to go about it. Of course, if you have a game store in your area, a lot of times game stores do offer open gaming at their location. So depending on how many tables they've got, they may have availability of just completely open gaming. I know some game stores actually require you to reserve a table. So something else is check to see if your game store has either a bulletin board in the store, or maybe they've got an electronic bulletin board on their website for people who are looking for opponents or looking for a group. You see that a lot. Let's see. Tessie Trekkie has popped on in. So Chuck Terrell says, I have a clean, safe space with a 6x4 table with polyhedral bases, but listed my age as 55. I'm totally snubbed in my new town. See, that's going to be one of the problems. Your age, my age, right? Because people in their 20s or younger are going to be like, do I really want to game with that old guy? Or better yet, do I want to game with that old straight white guy? I would also recommend going online to places like, I'm not even sure if it's still around. I think it is. Meetup. Meetup is where I used to kind of advertise my game get-togethers that I did at this pub when I lived in, it wasn't a pub, it was restaurant and bar, I guess I'll say. When I lived in Arizona, I used to do that every couple of weeks. And there were some times we got 25, 30 people. Other times we got, 10. But still, we always had enough people, whereas we could have at least 2 tables going. So check out Meetup. Meetup is another great idea. Now, I know there's some websites out there that have kind of popped up in the past year or so, at least as far as I understand, where they're to help find like a role-playing game group. I think they mainly focus on Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not positive. And I also don't know if they charge, because I kind of think that they do charge. Now, something I would certainly recommend you do not do. Of course, it's your money. Spend it however you want. I wouldn't go the direction of hiring a professional game master. To me, it sounds kind of goofy. I mean, the reality of it is it's kind of odd. So I don't know if that would be something that, I can tell you right now, I would certainly not. I would certainly not pay someone to be our game master. Arthur Hofert has popped on in the chat, says, I'm a young guy that'll play AD&D with a 90-year-old. Well, as I pointed out a few times, when I was probably about 15, one of our friends had some sort of a connection to a guy who was probably in his late 30s. And we used to go and game at this guy's house. And, we were 15, maybe 16. And there'd be like 3 or 4 of us. And then, 4 or 5 of these guys in their 30s and 40s, or maybe even older. We never had any issue. We were just playing games. But then again, the hobby was much smaller back then, back in the 80s. So a lot of times you didn't really have an opportunity to kind of pick and choose who you're playing with. Plus, it was a group that we got to play, I think it was Dawn Patrol, actually, where they had 1/72nd scale biplanes. It was really cool. We had a really good time. So another idea out there is Discord. There you go. I got to be honest, I'm not all up on Discord. I mean, I've been on Discord servers and things like that. I certainly wouldn't run one myself because I've got enough things to worry about. I know people have asked, how come you don't have a Discord, Jeff? It's like, come on. I got a website to run. I got this. I have videos to shoot. Come on. William Hellizice says, eHobby is an online gaming site. Matthew Constantine says, Meetup is still around. I should probably post something on there. Yeah, because something that you could do with Meetup is what I tended to do. Now, this was for tabletop gaming, like board games. I did not do role-playing games for this. But I went and I talked to some of the bars that were around where I lived, bars that were restaurants, and asked if there was any way possible to maybe do something like on a Monday or Tuesday night, when they're not usually busy, to take up 2 or 3 tables. And they were like, yeah, sure. And they actually even did discounts for food and drink, not booze, and it was kind of pretty cool. Now, one thing that you would need to do is you need to let people know that they can't just come and hang out and not buy anything. I don't know if it's still a thing, but when I was in Arizona, there were people who would go to Denny's and they would game at Denny's and they would be there 10 hours and drink coffee. And that's all they would order. And I thought to myself, if I was a general manager at that Denny's, I'd be like, you're out of here. You're out of here. William brought up Craigslist. I don't know. I mean, how sketchy, actually, William mentioned sketchy. I don't know how sketchy Craigslist would be as far as a gaming meetup. I mean, back in the day, I bought stuff off of Craigslist. I never sold things on Craigslist. I think I tried to sell something once or twice, and it was just way too many people who were like, yeah, sure, I'm interested. And then they, I'll be there at 5. Never show up. Or you'd get people who are like, oh, you want $50 for that? Well, will you take $3? And it's like, no, fucking idiot. Arthur says they gamed at Denny's before. It was awesome. Hey, as long as you're spending money while you're there and you're taking care of the person who's serving you, then yeah, I got nothing against you playing games at Denny's. It's just playing games at Denny's for 10 hours and then your check comes out to $20 for 8 or 9 people. And then it's like, oh, okay, so here's a $4 tip. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Do not come back again. Arthur says they didn't care. They bought appetizers. Well, yeah, okay, cool. So you were buying stuff and played for 7 hours, and they made a point of tipping both of their servers. Very nice. Very nice. Like I said, I'm not knocking playing at Denny's, but I'm saying if you do play at Denny's, please tip accordingly and not based on, oh, it's 15% of this bill, right? No. William asked me, does my mom still play games? Yes, on occasion. She has not played Twilight Struggle with me since since I lived in Arizona. She played a couple of times. She didn't quite grasp it. She understood it well enough to play it, but she didn't grasp the nuances and the synergies and things like that. Glass Miner is with us. I think they've been with us for a while. Maybe I said hello earlier. I'm not sure, but just in case. Says they lived in Toronto. There were a few board game cafes where people could get together to play tabletop role-playing games too. Nice. Pete Strakulich said they'd love to game at a Denny's. So we're not necessarily talking about locations to play. We're talking about how do you get people to play with. So we have kind of looked at meetups. To be honest, I think meetup is probably your best bet. Glass Miner says it's their second time here live. Very nice. I know I'd seen the nickname before. So good to have you back. Glad we didn't scare you away. Anyway, so meetup is a good way to do it. Going online. Doesn't Board Game Geek still have like opponents wanted, like an opponents wanted section? I got to be honest, I don't spend a hell of a lot of time on Board Game Geek. I don't have anything really against it. It's just simply, I don't spend much time on any other outlets or watching other channels or anything like that because my time is finite that I can devote to this stuff. But I would have swore that Board Game Geek would have something. Now, there is RPG Geek, which is also owned by Board Game Geek. It is far less frequented than, say, Board Game Geek. I'll be the first to point out, usually when I share videos of role-playing game stuff, Roger Prudhomme is with us. When I share role-playing game stuff, if it's like a review or a first look, I'll usually post it over on RPG Geek and never fail. It's like I'm the first and only person posting anything about the role-playing game on RPG Geek. So I don't know if you were looking to play role-playing games, if that would be a location to go to, because I just don't think it gets a lot of traffic. I would think N-World, they have a forum. That might not be a bad place to reach out. Something else you got to keep in mind, especially if you're looking to play role-playing games, and that role-playing game is not going to be Dungeons and Dragons, you are probably looking at having to be the game master. Now, depending on the size of the town or city or region that you live in, you may have more options available to you. But if you only have, like, let's say, one game store in a 50-mile radius, you might be hard-pressed to find anybody running anything other than 5e D&D. So if that's the case, you may want to get word out there that you are interested in getting a group together to play whatever, and then you are going to be the game master. Now, that doesn't mean that you always have to be the game master, so keep that in mind. But if you're looking to, say, as an example, we were talking about Traveler or GURPS, talking about GURPS out there, we might as well throw in some Palladium, right? Riffs. We're throwing the bone to Steve Jackson Games. We'll throw the bone over to Palladium too. Maybe you're looking to play some Riffs. Probably looking at having to be the game master for it. But that is an idea. Fleming Heron says, the Forever GMs, yes. Hello. Chuck Terrell says, for a small-sized city, Lexington has several shops. Nice. My buddy Herman Lutman lives near Lexington, Kentucky, if I remember correctly. I think that's where he went to retire, is outside of Lexington. So that's cool. That's nice. You got several game shops. So we've got online, we've got game shops, we've got trying to look for maybe Discord channels. Something else I would probably recommend, like I said, like N-World. N-World has forums. There's a variety of different role-playing game sites out there that also have forums. Now, you want to keep in mind, some of them might get kind of messy. Just letting you know. Could be kind of messy. So Matthew Constantine says, careful, Jeff, you're going to get sued. Isn't saying riffs a copyright infringement? No, not that I'm aware of, because we could have riffs in the fabric of space. Just like I could say three-peat. Nobody's going to come and sue me. Jeff said three-peat. That's it. Here comes Pat Riley. Damn you, Pat Riley. And your copyright. All right. out in chat. Come on, float some ideas out. Or you could always say, hey, this is how we got our group together. I mean, me mainly, it's Elliot, met in high school, and we've had some members of his family, like his son, Brian. So, of course, there's the connection there. My brother, Greg, my nephew, Cameron, my nephew, Cameron's friends. So that's how we've kind of put together our group. I would like to bring more people in. In fact, I think I had mentioned this, that I had hand-delivered some items from the game sale. And the person who bought the games, they were RPG books, asked me, how could you get into the game for the winner of the, March Madness? And I said, just shoot me an email. I said, because I'm more than happy as long as, we can find a location to play where it's all right to play maybe 4 hours or even maybe a little bit more. I said, yeah, I don't mind. Problem is, I just can't do it here, sadly enough. So I remember one time Elliot came by and we were playing some games. And after about an hour, my dad was kind of like, how long are you going to be doing this? It's like, yeah, okay. So Glass Miner says some Discord communities have looking for games channels. So speaking of Discord, what I was going to say is if there is a company out there, a publisher out there that you like their games, be it board games or role-playing games, see if they've got a Discord and see if they have a looking for gamers channel on their Discords. It is possible that could be the case. Kevin R. Smith said the members of his current group all met when they were members of the gaming club at college. When he was older, non-traditional student, they were all college aged. The Madman says college and work been the only ways they've gotten groups together or been invited to join. My three groups have been together for over 20 years. Chuck Terrell says, has anyone tried starting a Facebook group? There you go. That's another idea you can look into. There are, I'm sure, plenty of Facebook groups out there for various different games. I will say from my personal experience, because I have belonged to various different gaming groups on Facebook, not a whole lot of activity on them, amazingly enough. I was pretty surprised that some of them, it's like you may see somebody post once a week. Maybe you might see 2 or 3 posts in a couple of weeks on it. And I was like, huh. But once again, that is another idea as far as being able to get people. But so far, for someone who is no longer in college, their work is probably number one. Work or family are probably your 2 easiest ways of going about getting people together for your own gaming group. All right, Semper Boffo says, my group has been running for 5 years, same people. Now some of the kids are jumping in with them. All right, that's cool. Very nice. Matthew Constantine says that they've joined some Facebook groups, but they have not started one. Glass Miner says, congrats on the OSR video. Very well put together, and it already has more than 1,000 views. See, I thought I just rambled on in that, just like I'm rambling on tonight. But you got to remember, I mean, this is, just hanging out. I say it at the beginning, we're just hanging out, having fun. I'm not here to be like, all right, so here's 20 ways for you to gather people together to play games. Sharing some thoughts that people may not have, considered. Because I know a lot of times, because even in chat, we see people talk about how, well, I just can't get a group together to play XYZ game. Well, got some ways to try to take a look. Something else you may want to consider if you're looking at getting into a role-playing game group or creating a role-playing game group, you might consider joining a 5e D&D group, playing a little 5e D&D, and then you kind of say, well, I'd really like to run XYZ game. You might get some interest. You might have people just stare at you blankly. Star Trek? Is that like Star Trek Dungeons and Dragons Star Trek? No, it's 2D20. 2D20? No. God, no. I had a friend, he played a 2D20 game and he died. His brain exploded. He was too confused. GameCat is with us. So they had a small group of guys in the small group of 80 guys, or maybe in the 80s, guys coming together to have a one group session after many years, created their own small yearly con with a private Facebook group back in 2012. It now has over 60 peeps. See, that's even something else you can consider doing. If you can get people together and people don't mind kicking in a little dough, you can always reserve a conference room at a hotel. And they're not that expensive because usually you're only going to be reserving them for, say, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. And a lot of times if you're doing it kind of like off season, you probably get it for people kicking in $10 a pop if you've got 30 people. No. All right, let's see what else we've got kicking around. Kevin R. Smith says you can actually roll a 5D20. Indeed, did the 2D20. Their heads will really explode. Arthur says, real talk, I love either OSR D&D or Modifius 2D20 games. They love Star Trek Adventures. Yeah, we talk about Modifius all the time. And it, once again, that's something that I personally think holds the Modifius role-playing games back. And it is their adherence to their in-house 2D20. Some people just don't like it. And there's always tweaks to it. More so than, say, Mutant Year Zero with the Year Zero engine. There's usually tweaks, but they're not radically different. With the 2D20, there are huge swings in complexity and crunch for that for some strange reason. Tessie Trekkie says, oh, dear heavens, I just volunteered to run one at their friendly local game store. That's an idea. Looking to get a group together, maybe to run a game. Put it up at your friendly local game store. Might get a sign-up sheet. If you're looking for 5-6 people, maybe less. That might be a good way to get it started. Matthew Constantine says there's a hotel in the D.C. area, which is a bit hard for them to get to, that lets folks game in their lobby one Thursday a month. Perkins Dearborn is with us in chat. Good to see you. Said their college gang got together back in 1999 in a Washington rainforest cabin to play. Think they had about 30 people. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. W4 says we've got 30 plus people watching right now. Could all be possible candidates for an online group. Perkins Dearborn says, we did it twice, I think. Were you high? Remember? Yeah, man, I think we did it twice. I don't know. I'm just teasing. W4 says we could create a post-gaming gang dispatch group. What do you say, people? Perkins Dearborn says, back in the old days, they played via email or even U.S. Post. I used to have some play-by-mail. I did some play-by-mail when I was in high school. And there was a company out there that did role-playing. It was a couple of role-playing games. One was sort of Star Trek-ish, and the other was a fantasy role-playing game. And I think it was like $3 a turn, which back in the day, $3. Yeah, that was kind of pricey for a turn. Hyperborean Wars, Arthur points out. The Badger is joining us. Good to see you. Says they'll never top their AD&D group, 50-ish players, 3 to 4 DMs at any given time. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Flaming Heron's rocking on out. They've got a doctor's appointment. I am going to wrap up myself. So by all means, if you have thoughts about good ways to find people who would be interested in the same sort of games that you are interested in playing, be them board games or role-playing games, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section with your thoughts. Very nice. So Perkins Dearborn says, yeah, they did the play-by-mail too. You got a bunch of pages for each $3 turn. I think we got 2. I think it was like 2 pages. And it was kind of funny because you would write down all these like really complex instructions. Of course, I was like 14 years old thinking, oh, yeah, so everything's going to play out. And then you'd get a response back. And it was sort of like, wait a second, how the hell did that happen? I didn't say I wanted my character to do that. So I'll tell you what, I think tomorrow our topic will be, what can Mongoose Publishing do to launch Traveler into the stratosphere? Or in other words, what's currently going on that keeps Traveler away from being the hotness? Because the reality is, this is a pretty damn good system. It has aged really nicely. And in my opinion, I think Mongoose Traveler 2nd Edition is the Traveler to play. So I think we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll discuss some of the things that holds Traveler back. And by all means, everybody, if you're going to join me, have your comments ready. Sweet. All righty, that is it for this time out. Of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my upcoming review of Blade Runner Case Files #2, Fiery Angels from Free League Publishing. That's right, coming this weekend or Friday. I haven't decided yet, but it will be later this week. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you are watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, a far bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company also, which takes a load off of me. I don't have to be that entertaining, especially since I'm not that entertaining to start with. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Really do appreciate all of you watching any of the videos here on the channel. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.